We're going to talk about the lubricating oil system today on a small 480 gross ton subchapter I vessel. Okay, the safety hazards involved with the lube oil system are general and will be satisfied by your normal PPE. The lubricating oil system on this vessel, we have the engine lube oil tank, which is integral with an access port. Here we have the lubricating oil transfer pump. Here's the motor controller for it. You can see it has a gauge. This pipe under here is the suction point. So the lube oil goes through a strainer right here before it gets to the pump. And from there, it goes out through here to this line, which then goes to both of the number 1 and number 2 main engine lube oil sumps. This pump also has a manual backup bypass of this pump so that you could put oil in case you lose electricity. On the small Caterpillar main diesel engines, the lube oil filter is contained within this housing. You can see that you would take the bolts off of this cover and the lube oil filter would be inside here. Everything is very integrated on these smaller main engines, so it's very hard to trace the actual flow of the lube oil unless you have the manufacturer's manual out. Here we have a lube oil heat exchanger. This heat exchanger is for the gearbox on this engine, but it's very similar to the lube oil heat exchanger for the internal combustion engine itself, which we will show you in shortly. The small lines going in and out of the heat exchanger here is where the hot oil goes in. The large lines are the seawater cooling supply that go through this heat exchanger. So the cold seawater goes through it and out. The lube oil also goes through tubes and up and out, and the heat is exchanged. Now I will go and show you the lube oil heat exchanger for the engine on the other side. On this side of the engine, we have the lube oil heat exchanger for the engine itself. As you can see, it's tucked very tightly into the engine on these small Caterpillar engines. The main body is here with the small pipes. On large ocean going deep draft vessels, you're going to find that the heat exchanger system is much larger and easier to access as an inspector. It will have massive volumes of seawater going through them and the ability to control that volume to control the heat exchange in the heat exchanger. So for lube oil systems, in summary, for small installations like we have here today, we looked at the lube oil pumps, the lube oil seawater coolers, and the filters and strainers. Keep in mind that you may be on vessels that have many different types of lube oil systems. So please take the time to track it down with the vessel representative and look at it and inspect it thoroughly. If you have any more questions on lube oil systems, please talk to the verifying officer at your unit.